Situationships is the most basic, uninteresting interaction you can have with a person. It's not complicated, it's not profound, it's not complex. It's very basic.
Damn. The reasons why you stay in that and try and pursue that person so hardcore, it's driven by insecurity.
Why do I know what your butthole looks like before I know your favorite color? You know? That's crazy to me.
Emotional unavailability was very exciting to me to some degree.
There is a very therapeutic element to full emotion.
Yeah.
And things that generate a full emotional response. Because as much as we crave it, there's not a lot of things that stimulate us in that way because we're overstimulated. We literally go from looking at people getting bombed across the country to a girl twerking. We're not built to consume content like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Intellectual Podcast, where we're just putting a little bit of nuance to the polarizing conversations of the internet. And I say that every time. I don't feel like we've lived up to that.
Oh, no.
But that's neither here nor there.
Wow, just throw that in there.
I feel like it's a big claim, and I don't know how well we've lived up to it for all our episodes, because we're not really talking about polarizing conversations that much. You know?
Yeah. We're talking about we have talked about polarizing conversations.
It's the most controversial thing we talked about.
Probably the nice guys, red pill
maybe
episode was probably our most the most triggering word thing that's
maybe
on
Barbie.
TikTok. Yeah, also Barbie. We did get very controversial, I think.
Never mind. I retract my previous statement. Either way, I'm Jem.
And I'm Renee.
And we're your hosts for today and every other time and
for all of eternity.
Wow, yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're talking about some cool things today. Some relevant things today.
Yeah.
I think this is a sentiment that everyone that is currently dating in the modern era has experienced some form or another. Mm-hmm. And that is situationships.
Oh, our favorite thing.
My low-key favorite thing, though.
Wow.
My actual low-key favorite thing. I'm not gonna lie to people.
Can you expand on that? What do you mean it's your favorite thing?
I'll expand on it in the episode. But long story short, I don't know why people are as stressed out about quote-unquote situationships as they
are.
Yeah, as they are. The idea of a situationship in my brain doesn't need as much stress as it's given, basically. So I'm like, this is casual. This should be fun and easy. Why are you guys so pressed about this all the time?
Yeah, constantly.
Always.
Pressed.
Always.
Yeah, no, I guess I agree with you on that one. And in terms of in my least understanding place.
Right. Speaking from my point of view, I don't get it.
From my point of view, I am sort of in a, all you have to do is this and this and this, and then that's fine.
It's such a simple situation.
And then you'll be okay.
It's so easy. Why are you stressed about it?
You will have your answers.
You're making a mountain out of a molehill for what? For what? For what? I don't know. But we do know.
But we do know.
We do, but we don't, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to talk about today. Hopefully we what? Sorry, I'm tired.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So
we should first check in. How are you doing?
I'm exhausted. I went to bed at 6 a.m. This morning. I was watching Snowfall.
So you took a nap.
Yeah.
You were watching Snowfall? What's that?
It's a show about cocaine.
Oh, and the harms of it?
More or less, yeah. It's this whole thing. It's a really cool little epic drama of the black community, South Central LA.
Is it on Netflix? Hulu. Okay.
So I think
good rec.
For black people.
Gotcha.
It's it feels like it's one of those shows.
Feels relevant.
Insecure. It's kind of one of those types.
I hear you.
Very visceral. If you're not black, you won't feel the things that is really happening as aggressively.
Yeah. Though you still can watch it.
There's Mexicans in it too.
Yeah. Oh, the Mexicans are included. Good to know. I also went to bed at a really late hour. Not as late as you. But I did stay up watching The Gilded Age on HBO or Max, I guess is what
The
they're calling
Gilded
it
Age
now.
is 1860.
Yeah, the late 1800s. I know that for a fact. I don't know the exact time.
I'm glad I
period.
kind of like approximated that too. That was cool.
Maybe even the very, very early 1900s, because I think it was post Civil War.
Okay.
Was a Gilded Age, I'm pretty sure. So I think it bleeds into that. But very good show. I'm quite enjoying it, actually. But I always love a good period piece.
Yeah, me too.
Especially with like a little romance in there.
Yeah.
And like a strong female character who's like going against like the grain. Love that.
Always a vibe. Always
that.
a vibe. Speaking of strong female characters, this has nothing to do with the episode.
Okay.
But my coworker was dressed up in a way that looked like Laura Croft, just all black army boot type. I'm like, oh my goodness, you look like Laura Croft. This 19-year-old girl didn't know who the fuck Laura Croft was.
Wait, can I stop you right there and say that I don't know who Laura Croft is?
Oh, sorry. Tomb Raider.
Oh, okay. Got you.
Okay. Thank you. So Tomb Raider, the 19-year-old didn't know who that was either.
Oh, so she couldn't even like get the clarification.
Yeah,
okay.
so I was like, that's so funny because Laura Croft, Angelina Jolie's Tomb Raider, was like the first like empowering female character that made it on the big screen.
Yeah.
In like the Fox 20th Century vibe. Like that's what our generation remembers.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like not Michael Myers. It's Goldmember, Austin Powers.
Okay, there we
It's
go.
Austin Powers and Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider.
Those were the things
Those are definitely some big culture moments for sure.
I was like, that's crazy that we've forgotten about that.
Yeah. It's what happens. Knowledge does not always get carried on.
Tomb Raider is such a significant
So
thing.
good.
I loved it. But yeah, she was looking like that. And I don't remember why I was talking about that. Why was I talking about that?
I have no idea, but I do actually want to bring up Matthew Perry passed away.
Yeah.
Did you see that? I don't know if you were a big Friends show person. I definitely was. Me and like my like childhood friend, we were talking about it. Both of us were big Friends people. And actually Chandler Bing was like my first TV crush. Like him in the first like 3 seasons. Like you can't tell me that man wasn't fine. You can't tell me that man wasn't fine.
I'm not gonna say he wasn't fine because he was a famous man on a TV show.
I guess fine, like, but he was like very attractive to me as like a young girl.
And I get it. Like I'm not gonna like, what, you like him? Like that's so bizarre. But it's like he is not the person people think about when they're like, oh, the attractive dude on Friends. You're not gonna think Chandler.
No, you're gonna think Joey for sure.
Even Ross has his little like attractive moments.
Well, it's like in different ways. Because I was gonna say it's kind of like the it's what's that dude who's on the actor on Bear?
I know what you're talking about.
You know, but it's like that type of white guy who's like not like, if you really stare at their face, like they're not like exceptionally attractive, but they have this thing where people are attracted to them. Yeah. Granted, I don't
like
necessarily think
that. Stephen Strange.
Maybe, I don't know who that is.
Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah, that weird face.
Benedict
Cumberbatch. Exactly. But like, it also just makes me so sad because like even in Matthew Perry's his
Jeremy
like book.
Allen White.
Oh, that's his name. Okay, yeah, he has like a interesting face and just
not
like
ugly.
No,
but not like Brad Pitt.
Exactly.
Not
or like he's not George
attractive.
Clooney.
Yeah.
You know?
Ooh, George Clooney.
He's a good one.
Ooh, George
That's
Clooney.
a good. You know, Matt does not think that George Clooney is like very attractive.
I mean, not as much anymore.
What? He's even more attractive now.
Really? I haven't seen him in a long time.
Look at him.
All
Look
right.
him
all right,
up
all right.
right
Let me
now.
not put my foot in my mouth. Let me calm down for a second.
Well, I guess I wouldn't like. I don't think he's gotten less attractive with age. I don't think he's hit that point. Because I understand, like, there's usually a point where a person starts aging where it's like they still have like the remnants of like their attractiveness from when they were young, but it starts kind of declining just because of age. I think he still looks
like
amazing. Yeah. I think he looks incredible.
Well, his entire vibe has always been old man, that like silver
just
fox,
kind of like
right?
rugged,
he was attractive because he looked like a very attractive like 50-year-old. He's looked like an attractive 50-year-old since I was like a child. So
yeah, since we were children.
So
I don't know.
Just, like,
I was pretty shocked by that.
He's looking old now to me.
Yeah, I guess it's like a girl's point of view.
Not saying he's unattractive. I still
Yeah.
think he's like George Clooney. Wow, George Clooney.
Right.
He's giving James Bond. He's giving.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
You're just like, oh, his vitality doesn't seem as strong.
Oh, interesting.
I have a really weird association with getting old that we don't have to go into right now. But
We don't. But yeah, Matthew Perry. Truly, my heart broke a little bit. Not gonna lie, that was like
kind of sad.
And just to
and
hear,
then, like, he's been struggling so much with all these things, like for the
he hasn't had an easy
time.
life in a
Yeah.
lot of ways. You can, because I was gonna say his book that he wrote, and you can just hear like the way that he talks about like his like relationships. I actually didn't know until he passed that he dated Julia Roberts for a time.
Really?
Yeah, and he like when he talked about that relationship, he said that he essentially broke up with her because he didn't feel like he felt like she could break up with him at any moment. He's like, I didn't understand why this beautiful woman wanted me, and
That's so
so I ended it. And I was like, that just like breaks my heart.
That probably
Like,
broke her heart too. That's rough.
yeah. So like just like a person who like obviously struggled with addiction his whole life and clearly struggled with like his like sense of worthiness and whether he like deserved love and like admiration and and then just the way that he died, it really truly breaks my heart. So my heart goes out.
Yeah, R.I.P. Matt.
Yeah. Matthew Perry. Not my Matt.
Right. As soon as I said that, I was like, oh. R.I.P. Matthew
Though
Perry.
people called him Matty.
Maddie.
Yes. And he wants to be known for the work because he started a rehab, like a men's rehab,
Sick.
home or something like that in
That's
Malibu.
super cool. Yeah.
And he said that that's what he wants to be known for, the work that he did to help other people stuck in addiction. So
that just makes it so much sad.
no, that's what I'm saying. Like I literally I'm getting a little teary eyed. Oh, my brain.
Jesus Christ.
Anyways, so yeah, that's a little thing. I didn't know how to finish that.
We're struggling so hard.
We are struggling so much. It's fine. We're doing it. We're
Matthew
doing it.
Perry. Let us know if you watched Friends and what your favorite Matthew Perry moment was.
Ooh, yeah.
That's a cool one.
Yeah, that's a good one. I would like to know.
Chenandler Bong is mine. I didn't watch Friends. I wasn't like really that into Friends,
Yeah.
but like my cousins were. My older cousins were upset. They had all the VHS Friends sets,
Yeah.
and then to DVD when DVD became relevant. Chenandler Bong was mine.
Chenandler Bong, that was your moment. That was yours. Oh, so good.
And how he got Monica. Kind of like
how they did that with their characters. Yeah.
a little underdog moment. Like, oh, okay. Go off.
Okay, I
King.
see you.
Also, those girls, those women age really well.
Yeah, they all
What's her
aged
face?
amazing. Courtney Cox, Jennifer Aniston, and
The other one. Monica.
no.
You
Courtney
know.
Cox is Monica.
Oh.
Jennifer
Phoebe.
I feel so bad. I cannot remember her name.
I mean,
Wah, wah. For sure.
it is.
It's just true. Such low stakes in that regard.
She's still alive. Yikes.
Yeah. What?
As in, like, you don't have to remember her name right now because
she's still
living.
alive. Yeah.
We remember the dead.
Yeah.
This is getting really morbid for no reason.
That's what I'm saying. Like it is just like so sad. Do we want to get into the episode?
It's really hard. That's really hard to transition from like, wow. Oof.
Yeah. How do we? I don't think there's any easy way to transition from R.I.P. Matthew Perry to situationships and dating.
They seem even more irrelevant now. They seem even more irrelevant.
Like, and it's even more so. Like,
Life
you literally
is too
have
short. Stop wasting time with people.
Yeah.
The episode's over.
Yeah.
All right. Goodbye.
Stop wasting your energy. Can I just immediately go to the solution? When we were, this is for the people listening, when we were talking about the, like doing the outline for the episode, we just kept on immediately going to like, well, this is just what you do.
Right.
So we're like, okay.
Because at the end of the day, before you even start talking about this thing, like, at the end of the day, situationships are not complicated.
Yeah.
It's not a deep and profound misunderstanding of human interaction that has you suffering through an experience you don't understand.
Yeah.
Whether you're 19 or 55, if you're 55 in a situationship,
Please, for the love of God.
we have things to say about you. Another time. Please don't be 55. And oh my God. Anyways, it's neither here nor there. But like, no matter how old you are, you know what's happening here.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening here? What's a situationship?
A situationship is a
She's tired. It's okay. This is exhaustion in real time.
Oh my God.
Situationship is a situationship. Oh my God. Yes.
Oh my
yes.
gosh.
Yes.
I think it's like a situationship, I think, is like usually defined as like when two people are seeing one another and at least in my brain, like one person starts catching feelings while the other person doesn't necessarily. One person wants to commit and the other person doesn't want to commit.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of creates this weird purgatory in between.
Yeah.
Between
relational
like,
purgatory.
It's relational purgatory. That is a good word or a little definition. It is relationship purgatory.
I'm going to call the episode that.
Yeah.
Relational purgatory.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Urban Dictionary says that it's a state of confusion surrounding a couple who may be sleeping together and or have romantic feelings toward each other, but they aren't in fact together. Yes.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Do you think there are like different types of situationships that a person can, because like, do we think that, at least for me, my brain immediately goes to one person is pining after the other and the other doesn't want to exist.
Why do you feel that way, Renee?
Well, because those are the situationships I have been in. Okay. Goddamn. I was getting to that. I just needed to feel more comfortable to express myself.
It's fine.
No, I'm just kidding. Yes, because I definitely have found myself in some situationships for sure. And it usually was me wanting to be in a relationship with that person and them not wanting to be in a relationship with me.
Just gripping.
Yeah.
Your claws
for
into
dear
it.
life.
Like,
Trying
this is going to be something.
I will convince you
Right.
and you will be mine.
Right.
Which is a little scary.
Like, I don't know how satisfied a person is. Like, there's so many people, and I know that you guys can attest to this. There's so many people that move from a situationship to a full-blown relationship, and they like fought tooth and nail
To get there.
And I'm like, how happy are you in that?
How satisfying is that?
Because for me personally, if I have to work that hard, that's where all the energy went.
Right.
And there goes the relationship.
Yeah.
Now what?
Right.
Now I'm over it.
Now what do we do?
Now I'm tired.
Right.
Now I'm
100%.
exhausted. Forget the rest of that. That's crazy to me. So like, it's so interesting. That's like the reaction. Oh, he doesn't want me. Let me really try to fight for this because for whatever reason.
And and it's just like too, like to have to convince someone so hardcore to be with you is like, is that what you want? At least for me, like I imagine, okay, a world where like those situationships that I had like interacted in, what if they did eventually, what if all my hard work over like
Paid
the course
off.
of like several months or a year paid off and I finally convinced them to get into a relationship with me? How good would I feel about that? You know what I mean?
You have to work so hard for someone to even like consider you a dateable option.
Right. I don't know.
It's
I don't
embarrassing.
know that I would be
I'm
as
embarrassed for you.
like, it's just like it's a hard way to enter into a relationship. And because as I've said to you, like I think a lot of times when people enter into situationships or allow themselves to exist for too long in a situationship, I think it's like the reasons why you stay in that and kind of, you know, try and like pursue that person so hardcore. Like, I think there's like it's driven by insecurity in a lot of ways, I think. And just like, and in a way, it seems counterintuitive, but like not feeling like you're worthy of love in some way or worthy of like the sort of relationship that you're saying that you want, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so when you're pursuing a person based on like that, the baseline feeling is like anxiety and insecurity, because that's not a fun situation to be in, that purgatory that does not feel good. And then when you get into that relationship, well then, you know, how, like you're saying,
What's the foundation?
what's the next thing that's going to fill that space? more insecurity, more anxiety. Because I imagine like if I got into a relationship with those situationships I was in, I would be so insecure that they would want to break up with me at any moment, that I would have to continue to prove myself to them that I'm worthy of their love.
That part for real.
Because that's what you're really trying to do.
That's
you're
what
like,
you did to get into it.
Yeah, like
you won't be able to stop doing that.
You're like a show pony. Like
that's crazy. You're really performing. You're really performing to like make sure like nothing happens.
Right.
They'll probably hold that shit over you too.
Right. Exactly.
Like, I didn't want to be in this relationship.
I didn't even want to be here. Damn, that hurts.
If anybody told me that, I'd be broken.
Yeah,
I'd be demolished. That's crazy. Like, I didn't want to be in this relationship. Are you kidding me? I got to deal with this. Yo.
You're like, okay.
Ooh.
For sure. Yeah, I'm self-esteem shattered.
Yeah.
Immediately.
I don't think I'd be able to recover from that. That's why I don't let people get the chance.
Right. That's why I don't let people get close. I keep my walls up. Emotionally unavailable.
Oh my goodness.
Oh gosh.
Oh my goodness. But anyways, I'm always so curious. Like as a society, how did we get here?
Yeah.
How do we get here? Because, regardless of how we're experiencing, regardless of whether or not I would participate in that situation, let people hurt me and open up myself like that, it's like we all kind of want a similar situation. So
yes.
The fact that we're in this so-called situationship is very interesting because we all want a person to want and a person to want us.
Yeah, that is true.
So it's so interesting to me how we got here. And I think one of the biggest contenders, one of the biggest contributors has to be our modern way of like hooking up and dating apps and all those crazy things. And it's funny because the term situationship is actually a term that's not even that old. So
really?
You think that it would
feels like it's been around forever.
Right. You think that we've been, I feel like I heard this since like high school, right? Like 2010 and shit like that. No, 2017, coined by a cosmopolitan journalist by the name
Honestly,
of...
I kind of love that as a cosmopolitan journalist. Like...
the defining magazine of our culture.
No,
Cosmopolitan.
literally.
It's New York Times and the Cosmopolitan for sure. Her name is Karina Shea. In 2017 on a Cosmopolitan article talking about how dating apps affect romance and how it's like we find ourselves in not a relationship and it's not really that casual and it's a situation, so a situationship, right? And I always say and I always joke with my friends about how interesting it is that we kind of have this whole dating thing a little backwards. I might have said this on the podcast too. We have this dating thing kind of backwards where it's like we do all this crazy intimate physical things like as soon as we meet a person and then we backtrack and find out who this human being is. Like, why do I know what your butthole looks like before I know your favorite color? You know?
Oh my God.
Like, why do I know what your ass looks like before your favorite color? That's crazy to me.
That's a pretty jarring comparison, right? But it's true.
But it's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. And how many times do you find yourself in those situations? Like, like what is your favorite color? Like, what do you like to eat? Like, what's your favorite food?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Where were you raised? Like, all this stuff. Like,
where did you grow up?
We know nothing about these people, but
right.
we're exposing ourselves to them
so intimately.
And I think that is the catalyst that starts it all.
Yeah.
Because if you go the way that we explain, the path that we took, there's no way you'll end up in a situationship.
Yeah.
You're not devoted to this person in any real way. There's no reason to feel that strongly, and you have complete control over the things that we claim to be so simple.
Yeah.
Because like I said, if the basic idea is to want somebody that wants you and you're going about it in a very calm and collected, very sophisticated sort of way, not giving too much of yourself before a person is reciprocating that energy, how are you going to find yourself overly attached to a person that doesn't want you?
Right.
Kind of impossible, kind of hard, kind of unnecessary. So
you can go ahead. I think that's the first time that's ever happened to
Yeah,
us on the
actually,
pod.
right.
I think that was the first time both of us started speaking. I was like, no, you.
That's all you.
Wow. I think that's funny, kind of going off the heels of our dating apps episode, literally like a couple weeks ago, that situationships is kind of like it makes sense. It's bred out of this culture of like dating apps and whatnot, and like the way that we kind of go about, as you said, like dating completely backwards. And I think also too, because that what you had just said about like, if the baseline like standard or like non-negotiable that you have is that you want someone who wants you, then you really, like you said, you really won't find yourself in a situationship. It's not to say that you won't find yourself in situations where you may really like someone, you may be really into someone, and they're just not feeling it like you're feeling it. Like, it's not saying that, okay, if you follow that rule, then you'll never find yourself, wanting to be with someone who doesn't want you. Right. But it's, you won't find yourself kind of existing in these situationships,
pining after people.
Right, exactly. And the purgatory, as we have stated as well, where you're kind of like half engaging in some sort of weird relationship for months on end with someone who doesn't want to commit to you. You'll if that is like the baseline standard, you will say, oh, they don't want me.
Let me go find someone that does.
Yeah. Right.
So immediately my question is always, why do people put themselves in those, or why do people stay in those situations? Right. Because how you put yourself in that situation is so...
Right. It starts out as just like dating. We're just getting to know each other.
No one's like going out into the world like, I'm looking for a situationship.
Right. Exactly.
And because it's so clear that most people would not exist with a person that doesn't want them, just like normally, like what is the factor that is keeping you there? Why do you want to be there?
Yeah.
Two theories I have. One I can go into later, which is they want to be there. They're not ready for an actual relationship, right? But the other thing is that situationships are mostly characterized by emotional intimacy.
Explain.
In the sense that while you're getting all this physical stuff, you can hook up with a lot of people and not be in a situationship, right? What's the difference between a person that you're hooking up with consistently and a situationship? It's the emotional attachment.
Yeah.
And that's why it doesn't make sense. That's why you're looking at this from a logical perspective, being like, girl, what?
Right.
Like, you just have to do X, Y, Z and leave this dude. He doesn't want you.
This is me standing on my soapbox.
Right.
No emotions attached to the situation at all. Right.
And I'm sure any other person like that you're talking to will hear that and be like, yeah, you're right. Obviously, that's what I have to do. But why do you keep coming back? Right. Why do you keep wanting this person? What is that feeling that you get when you get a text from him? It's like you get a text from a dude that you're dating. It's like, oh, Sam texted me. Cool. You get a text from that dude you're in a situationship, and like that little pit in your stomach.
Your heart starts pounding. Yeah. You're like, oh my God, what do I say? What do I do?
It's the emotions of it.
Yeah.
It's the emotions of it that are completely opened up. Floodgates unguarded because of the physical way you guys started the interaction. So that it doesn't follow the logical flow. It doesn't follow the understanding that you may have, that you like probably advise other people about yourself. Like you in your situation, you're like gripping and pining after this person. I didn't know that it was like that crazy. Because
I mean, I don't know that. Yeah, I kind of was, but also like kind of wasn't, if that makes sense.
And that's what it seemed like at the time. But like in retrospect, if it was like that, you could have told me about that situation if that was me doing something, and you'd been like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like I did tell you pretty much everything about it.
How crazy it was? Like how aggressive that you wanted, like that. Like the gripping part, like you really pining after, homie.
I think this might be you taking things literal.
Again. Like what?
But
it's crazy.
Yes, gripping at it in the sense of like when okay, maybe I should just really quickly, so because I don't mind this being in the podcast.
Sure.
I had a situation where I was dating a guy for like, I think it was like max we were dating in the dating stage for like 4 months.
Actually pretty significant.
I had wanted to be in a relationship and I expressed that to him and he was like, do you want to be exclusive? Like, and he was just very wishy-washy about it. And I was like, for sure. In the moment, I did the right thing because I was like, this is about to be a situationship. And in the moment I was strong and I was like, look, like clearly you don't, because he was kind of offering exclusivity. He's like, yeah, we can try that. Like, I guess. But he didn't seem very enthusiastic or wanting to do it. And I was like, clearly you don't want this like I want this. So I am going to
Not want it.
So I was like, I think we should just end it. Like, not talk, whatever. Like, it's over. I deaded it. And then this is what happens though when you're in a situationship is that you convince yourself, because I think this is also what people do a lot of.
Let them know. I feel like this is going to be very useful.
Yeah, 100%. Because I was sitting there for, I think it was like a month and a half. And like, obviously was still like grieving this situation. And just being like, I can be friends with him. Like, you know what? Like, it didn't work out as a relationship, but I like enjoyed this person as a human being. And I think like,
of the end.
I think we can be friends.
No worst words were ever spoken to oneself.
Oh no, if I could just go back to past Renee and shake her.
Right. No, girl, no.
So I reached back out to him.
See, that's the part like you didn't tell me.
No, I did. I did tell you that
you wanted to be friends with him.
Yes, I did tell. Well,
like when you were
processing
that.
When I was in between, I remember telling you.
I think I'm going to be friends with him.
Yeah. I remember talking about it with you and you were like, for sure. And then, so I had reached out to him. He responded immediately. So that was just not good for me. And because I just completely read into that. And I was like, no, this is fine. Like, I'm not feeling anything but friendship and platonic feelings.
Wait.
And what?
Are we talking about the same time period? I think my time period of this experience is just so much wider than what it actually was. Like I thought there was like a year
there was a year of friendship that we had.
But I thought there was also like a year that you guys like weren't in contact.
No, it was not that long.
Oh,
it was not that long.
That's my confusion.
Yeah.
So literally when you were telling me about it is when like things were happening in real time.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that him responding immediately did not do well for me.
Right.
Yeah, either way, like I feel like that's like such like a like it's so funny because in the back of my head in that moment, I knew that I wanted more, but I was settling for less because I was convinced that I could have this person in my life and I wanted this person in my life in any capacity that they were willing to give me and that I could just be okay with that. And that is just hearing me say those words and that coming out of my mouth. It's like
cringy.
It just is like, want better for yourself, girl. Like, and also like he's not your friend.
Yeah.
You know, to convince yourself that that person was your friend, could be your friend. When you, after like engaging like romantically, you're not friends, you know? It's just, it's hard. It's really hard to just like go back to that. Especially when it's
possible either because someone's going to take that and run with it.
Right. Exactly.
The conditions that would make that possible, you probably don't possess.
Right.
Sorry.
I would have had to really, truly have had no like feelings for him
or
anymore.
Just want nothing but friendship.
But yeah, genuinely, and that was just not the case. So obviously, eventually, that
and
friendship
truly, like on that,
ended as well.
Just like playing, not even playing devil's advocate, but just like adding to that.
Yeah,
like what is he really giving you?
And that is what
like
I had to
that,
ask myself. I was like, do I really need a friend right now? Like, and what kind of friend was he?
Right.
You know.
Right.
And when I looked at that, I was like, I already have what he's giving me as a friend, because he was a sweet guy, like cool dude, like nothing against him.
Right.
But the things that he was giving me as a friend, I already had in my life from the genuine
like
friends,
actual friends
with platonic feelings that I had in my life already existing. Right. So it really was one of those things where it just caused me more stress. And honestly, too, it was, not gonna lie, like for a moment there, it was, I don't know if it's like an ego thing as well, where you're kind of feeding into like the drama of it all and like kind of existing in the like something about that like chase of it of like, I can convince this person. I think you exist. Maybe, I don't know if I'm like using that correctly. You exist in your ego in that, like, I can convince this person that they want me, and when I do, it'll be so satisfying. Like, what the heck am I telling myself? Like, you really, the loopholes that you take,
the mental gymnastics that it takes to
literally
convince
cartwheeling, literally doing Olympic gymnast shit in my brain to convince myself that this man was worth that effort.
Crazy.
It was insane.
And you know what's really the nail in the coffin, especially for these type of things? It's the bridges that you create, not between you and this person, between this person and other factors in your life.
Yeah.
Every connection that you have, every connection that you create becomes another justification as to why you need him in your life.
Right.
So for you, it was when we met. I met this dude.
Yes.
For the first time. And then he came to her party, her birthday party.
Yeah.
First of all,
God.
in and of itself is a wild thing. He met your family.
Yeah.
Met your friends.
I shouldn't have done that to myself. I really should not have done that to myself, because what was worse, you guys liked him.
No, yeah, see?
That made it like 1,000 times
That makes it
harder.
so much worse, because now it's like, why aren't we together? Because you have these feelings. You're supposed to be friends with this person.
Yeah.
You're clearly not friends. You interact. And I was telling you, even after that part, I was like, yeah, y'all aren't friends. And it's not seeming like friends. You and your drunk ass motherfucking self is not friendly to this man. We're like, I don't know what you're talking about, first of all. Second of all, now you just like, you're hearing all this stuff. You're hearing how people like him. You resonate with those feelings because that's why you like him in the first place too. Re-emphasizing the fact, like, this could actually be a relationship.
If only I can get him to see what it will be.
Because like from your perspective, all your people already like stamp the approval. And it's in a safe way. Because they don't have to critique him as a boyfriend. They don't have to critique him as a potential significant other. They're critiquing him as the homie.
Yeah.
You have great taste in people. That's super cool. Like, that's a cool dude. But like, if I'm
taking that to heart.
Like how I was critiquing Matt when I first met him. That's very different. I came with a very different energy. I was looking for different things. I wasn't trying to appreciate him as a person. I was trying to see if he was a good fit.
A good match for your friend.
You miss that as like you're like masquerading this man. As like, no, you're just like,
it's just a friend. Clearly not.
It's like, okay, interesting. For sure. And you're just convincing yourself through these things, listen to this stuff, make yourself miserable. Like, oh my God, why aren't we together? I'm gonna try even harder to prove to him that this can be a thing. All my friends like you, bro. What do you mean? No, and I hope to the people listening to this, it sounds as pathetic as it does to you as well, because it should, so that, you know, like if you ever find yourself in that situation, it's like you really are like reducing yourself to a version that like that a person that is worthy of being in a relationship with you would never allow you to stoop that low, you know, to make you have to prove yourself in that way. They wouldn't do that, you know, like just the situation would not happen that way. So yeah, because that was just, it was not it. It was not it. The patheticness. Is probably why another reason why people probably find themselves stuck.
They like dig down even deeper, because it's like
embarrassment is a hard feeling to process. If you think about it. Like no one wants to feel embarrassed, and it's hard to explain embarrassment. And then when you're talking about the situation to your friends, trying to make it seem like it's a thing worth thinking about, and they tell you exactly what it is and what you know it is. It's just like, you're not going to feel that way. You're not going to try to feel that way. You're not going to try to seek out the information. You're just going to talk about it and be like, all right. All right. That's what it is.
No, 100%.
That's what it is.
It's understandable.
And you're trying to make that feeling mean something. Why am I feeling all these things for this meaningless situation, this ultimately meaningless situation? Because it's going nowhere. It means nothing. And I am attaching so much significance to it. Why?
And
why
honestly,
am I attaching so much significance to it?
And what's even funnier is that usually those situationships, when you find yourself like, you know, in the future looking back on it, you know, in hindsight, you're like, that person probably like was not my person. Like that would not have been a compatible situation anyways.
And that usually happens like when you meet the person that you actually click, that you actually want, that actually wants you. It's like, it's so obvious that that other dude was not it. It's so obvious that dude was not doing what he was supposed to do.
100%.
But like, again, then perspective, right? And emotions are so hard to process when you're in the middle of something because it navigates or it not navigates, it controls how you look at things. It controls the perspective you're having on it. So emotions completely change the way you perceive things. So there's no way for you to know in the moment what's happening. You think that if you never felt these emotions generated for you before, you're feeling it now, that this is a thing that you should be feeling because you've never experienced it before. But from this moment that you're experiencing to the next moment that's like healthy for you, that's something that you actually need and want, that moment seems so dumb in comparison because of the perspective that you're having. And we live in a society.
Oh, the society.
I know, it always comes back to that. Every time I say that, I feel like a weight. Like, we live in a society.
Oh, God, we do. Damn it, the awareness. You made me aware.
We live in a society. Fuck. Not a society. We live in a society that generates and prioritizes feeling these really strong, dramatic, deep emotions for people.
Totally.
And in the movies, from what we see, it's always that leading and that starting and that being what relationships end up.
Right.
Because we don't see everything else. Like we were talking about the Jada Will situation. Will Smith asked out Jada in the most suave way possible. If you hear the start of their relationship, it's like, are you single, girl? She's like, yeah. It's like, not anymore type shit. It's like, and she like fell for it. She was with it, and it was like a thing. You have songs written about their love. I want that Jada and Will love, right? Like, but it doesn't stop there. We got there happily ever after, but we're also getting there also ever after. Like, what else is a part of that story?
Right.
That's not a normal thing, and then community is reacting the way it's reacting to it because we're not used to seeing realness in that way, especially from the people that we're seeing it from. We want to stop at happily ever after, and we think hyper emotionality will get us there.
Totally.
If I feel strongly, that's a reason to double down and sit down and sink in and make this mean something, because I might never feel a thing again. But in reality, in practicality, in actuality.
Yes, these things.
I gotta pause. That was like kind of impressive.
Oh my God, your brain works for a moment.
In actuality, love is probably one of the more boring human experiences.
Damn.
Is that a hot take?
I'm curious to know why.
Because love is repetitive. Love is habitual. Love is the moments in between the peaks. It's tucking in your child. That's not exciting.
Fair.
You know, it's rubbing your girlfriend's feet.
Yeah.
That's not interesting. Maybe her feet smell.
Unless you have a foot fetish.
We're not talking to y'all.
This isn't for you.
So yeah, it's like, love is the working through your issues and like communicating the things that you feel in a healthy way. That's not interesting. That's not fun. That's not skydiving, you know?
Yeah.
That's not snorkeling. That's not going to the bottom of the ocean in a submarine. You know? Looking at the Titanic because you're rich and whatever.
Oh no!
I'm still bringing that. I'm bringing that back. I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing it back.
Oh God! Oh no!
How exciting is that now? I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, Jem. So bad. That is so bad. Move on. Move on.
I'm never letting that go. But yeah, like, love is very boring, and we live in a generation that needs to be like a very ADHD generation, not to use terms inappropriately.
We're dopamine addicts.
Yeah.
And
we need to be sensationalized. We need to be entertained. And love is not entertaining. Love is not entertaining at all. So we feel these hyper emotions. We're like, oh, this is love. And we apply all the energy that love deserves to a situation that isn't deserving of love.
Yeah.
And arguably can barely even be called love.
Right. Because I honestly think when I think about the like energy that is cultivated in like a situationship, that like that excitedness, that like adrenaline rush, that anxiety, that does he want me? Does he not? Like that energy versus like a healthy like progression of a relationship and like a, you know,
there's a little uncertainty. There's a little nervousness.
Of course, like always, but it feels very different. It almost feels like I don't know that it's actually like it feels like lab grown versus organic. Do you know what I mean?
Like, that's like a really good example.
Yeah.
Like, real actual relational love is like breathing out.
Yes.
It's like a sigh. It's slow, it's calm, it's relaxing. You like sink into it.
Right.
This situational like dating situation that most people find themselves in, it's falling fast. It's like you hit a wall, you hit a brick wall. You're like disoriented. You're trying to find your bearings. It's falling for like, oh my, I fell for him. Like you literally did.
Yeah.
But like you don't fall for people you fall in love with.
Right.
You fell in love. Nah, you kind of like sunk in love.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No, that is very true. That is very true. And yeah, I mean, even like I think they're common like that. When people find themselves in situationships, you also kind of what immediately goes in my brain as well is like the emotionally unavailable man, like kind of coincides with that. But even like you were saying, and I don't know if you want to get into it now, but of just like the person kind of enjoying like why, because even for myself, I'll start there. I found myself dating a lot of emotionally unavailable dudes. There was a point where I was like starting to want to engage in dating less casually and more seriously, and was like still finding myself attracted, and like the guys that I was picking that I was like, oh, I want to see them more, I like them, they ended up being not as available to me as I wanted them to be, even though my personal goal was wanting a more serious relationship. And kind of like analyzing that and realizing that, you know, that emotional unavailability was very exciting to me to some degree. Like I was, I don't want to say getting off on it, but like,
but you were,
but kind right.
But you were.
I was like, is that appropriate to like say like that's like the right way to use it?
There is a very therapeutic element to full emotion.
Yeah.
And things that generate a full emotional response from you. Because as much as we crave it, there's not a lot of things that stimulate us in that way.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're overstimulated. So now we literally go from looking at people getting bombed across the country to a girl twerking on the internet.
Literally back to back.
A joke. And my friend was talking about like, we're not built to consume content like that, first of all. So our brains are overstimulated. So we kind of like naturally have a resistance to all this information.
Totally.
First of all. So things that we do hyperfixate on, things that we do focus on are blown out of proportion, one, and two, feel really good because that's like what we want and we're finally getting it.
Yeah.
So you are in a way getting off on it. Two, I know you specifically, Renee, have had like the most amazing, sensational cry of your entire life. And how you feel after that.
Oh, amazing. Love a good cry.
Right. These toxic situations are that.
Yeah.
They are that. It's like you scream, you fight, you kick, and you get to hide behind those hyper emotions.
So then I wonder whether it's also like this victim mentality that you like existing in. Like, oh, they like just no one wants me, and like, you know, I'm just unlovable and I'm not worthy, yet you're not putting yourself in situations or taking yourself out of situations. Cause like we said, like situations happen. Like you can find yourself in one completely unintentionally, and that's okay. It's the part where you become aware of that and then continue in it,
when
right?
You're fully capable of removing yourself.
Exactly.
From it. And victimization is a really good way to classify it.
Yeah.
Because you will immediately see that it's so easy for people to hide behind what people are doing to them and the situation itself versus taking accountability and having responsibility for the situation that they put themselves in.
Yeah.
Which is why I say you are in a situationship because on some level you actually enjoy the drama. You actually enjoy being in the situation because like you said, I wanted to be in a relationship, but I'm choosing men that I could never be in a relationship with. You're not actually ready to do the work that a relationship requires.
There was definitely a shift on my end that I had to do, like a mindset shift, an awareness shift that could then kind of adjust my picker, so to speak.
Exactly. Because people are not very introspective in the sense that it's really hard to look at yourself unbiasedly. That's for everybody. That's me. I really have to go out of my way to like look at my actions and be like,
totally,
is this a useful way to behave? And society, the world, like the universe doesn't necessarily reward that type of behavior.
Yeah.
They reward the people that don't do that because that's just the way things are. The things that take longer, the things that are harder to do have a very longer term reward versus the short term gratification that, not caring about things and not caring about people will give you, right? I'm kind of speaking from experience, but you get to a point where you can't lie to yourself anymore, basically. But before that, you're existing. You are fighting. You're screaming at this person because they did X, Y, Z. They were talking to you. They posted. They're talking to you like in private, telling you all these crazy things in your text, but they posted another girl on their story, right?
Right.
You're offended by that. You confront them about that. They're resistant about it. You guys have a little tussle, whatever. And all that is energy that is being directed from you looking at yourself and into that situation. So you can pretend and be like, well, like I'm working towards a goal. Like I want to be in a relationship with this person. And this is the actions that I'm taking to do that. And they're just not participating. Like this could work, but they're just like emotionally unavailable. They had problems with their parents. They have a bad breakup. It's complicated. Like all the excuses that you make.
I can help them.
Yeah, the savior mentality is just as bad as the victim mentality.
Right.
Because I think they go kind of like hand in hand.
There's
a little loop in there.
I'm
a victim.
Vicious cycle.
I'm a victim, but I want to help them out because who else could give them what I could give them? I know them better than than anybody else knows them. They confide in me more than anybody else. How?
Right.
All
this ego.
It's like, no, ma'am, sir. Actually, guys don't talk to me about this shit. But ma'am, you really just have to like relax. Relax or not even relax. You just have to understand that what you want it to be is just not what it is.
Yeah.
And you would enjoy it more if you just accepted that that's what you want right now.
Yeah.
Like you want the drama, you want the craziness, you want the toxic chaos and stuff. Like you're not a savior. You're actually a willing participate in the bullshit that's confirmed. Like it takes two to tango type of situation, right? You're doing all this stuff and like we were saying before, it's so easy just to step out of it. You want to be here on some level. Maybe not as intentionally as like, I'm putting myself in this situation. Right. But you're there because it feels good to be there for some reason. Yeah. And that reason is something you need to understand for you to remove yourself from it.
Right.
What are you taking from this situation? Not always, what is this dude doing to me? Why can't I get this dude to see how good I can make his life, his situation, Because also too, like
at the end of the day, you can't control this other person. So thinking about like, well, why doesn't he want me? Like ruminating over these things about like, well, if he just did this and like if he just let me, blah blah blah, or she as well. I'm sure I've talked to personally. I have friends
like the
who
nice guy simping type energy.
Yeah, like I've seen plenty of situations of dudes as well. Like I don't think this is like a gendered situation at all, but neither here nor there. Ruminating over the intentions, the motivations of the other person in this is just another way to keep yourself and give yourself an excuse to stay like attached to this person and engaging in that situation. And that really doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's whatever like you looking at yourself and looking at what you want. And if you're, like you're saying, being honest with yourself about the whys of why you're engaging in the situation that you are, and then moving accordingly. And if you genuinely look at that and you're like, I don't want to attract these sort of people, I do want something more serious, then there is like maybe some work to be done on your end to ensure that you are engaging and interacting with people that have similar goals as you.
Right.
And it doesn't really matter why that dude didn't want you. You can only the only thing you can fix in that situation, the only variable you can control is yourself.
Yeah.
That's literally the only variable you can control. So it doesn't do any good to ruminate over the guy or the girl or that person that doesn't want you. All you can do is change within.
Or on the other side of that, just be okay with the situation. If that's what you like, if you do what you just said, and if they do what you just said, I'll say for clarity, and they still like, well, I want to still participate in the situation, then just be okay participating, because like you are putting yourself in that situation. And it's very interesting to me too, because a person that understands what they're doing and why they're doing it will not talk about a situationship nearly as much as a person who's in denial about it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you are talking about your situationship so much because you're looking for validation that what you're doing is like a thing to do, when you know damn well it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
You wouldn't talk about it so much. You're like, oh, but like, you don't understand. Like, I'm in so much pain. I feel so much. Like,
Right.
yes, but also like, my situationships, I keep those things to myself. If I'm pining after a girl that doesn't want me as much as I want her, I'm not telling that to my friends.
For sure.
Like we said, it's pathetic. It's pathetic, and I know it's pathetic. But like, I'm a victim of wanting that emotional stimulation as well. I get a kick out of it as well, you know, but I'm not going to pretend the drama means something.
Yeah.
I will let the drama be 100% what it is.
Yeah.
Drama to make my life a little more interesting. I can put it on a podcast like I'm doing right now. You know, I'm not going to be like, no, I might actually have like the cutest babies with her. You don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't understand, Renee. I love her.
No, my gosh. Okay.
Have I ever said that to you?
No.
Absolutely not. Because like it gets to it. I honestly, I don't think I'd be able to talk to y'all the way I talk to y'all if I was doing the shit y'all do. You know, like straight up. I couldn't be like, nah, man. I don't know. There's just something about it. I think that this could really work out. Like I have to like really check myself and hold myself accountable to the things I tell people.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean, bro? Like, what do you mean you are dealing with the same thing?
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell people like, no, you just have to do X, Y, Z. It's like, no, I'll participate in the situations. I put myself in really crazy situations. And I keep that shit to myself.
Right. And I keep it to myself.
I
for
keep
sure.
that shit to myself.
Yeah. And I mean, you keep it to yourself. I don't think it's not necessarily about keeping it to yourself, but kind of the like being realistic about like what you're getting from this while you're interacting in it.
And everything I just said was like that's
yeah,
the point.
no,
That's a
but
really
I heard
good,
and the way that Jem does it is by keeping it to himself.
Yeah.
Or when you do talk about it, it's very much from a like
this is just happening to me.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, I went to the park last night. Like I hooked up with my ex from 7 years ago.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
Like,
oh God, that's a good one.
to me, that's like the same thing.
Yeah. Right.
But I'm not gonna make that your problem for me to solve. Right.
Yeah.
Or I'm not gonna make that your problem for you to solve for me.
Got you.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
It's
I mean,
like-
I definitely have never like, any time that how do I put this? I've only ever called something a situationship because I just really wanted a relationship with that person. And I was living in my little Delulu land, which even like that, like I'm so Delulu. Like honestly, tell me if you agree with this. I think that is kind of like we as like a society or a community or a generation, I should say. Yeah, as a society. I'm actually switching it. So, generation.
Right.
Woo. I lifted the stone. As a generation, like bring awareness to like, I understand that I'm existing in this delusion and I'm okay with that. I'm going to live in Delulu land. Like, I think that's like we've like coined a term for this very thing that we're talking about being
Delulu.
like realistic about, or having some perspective on what and why we're engaging in it.
And that's the thing, right?
You know,
in that we know what it is.
Yeah.
We can talk about it at length when we're not participating in it. But people will be Delulu and pretend that
like
it's
actually.
for real. Yeah. And I'm like, where's that part is the thing that I want to be more consistent.
Yeah.
We all know what it is.
Yeah.
We're all very aware. Like I said, like I keep saying, I can't stop saying that. I can't reiterate this enough.
Yeah.
That situationships is the most basic and uninteresting interaction you can have with a person. It's not complicated. It's not profound. It's not complex. It's very basic.
Yeah.
Very, very rudimentary. You're with a person that doesn't want you as much as you want them. That's it. It's not complicated.
Yeah.
So everyone gets it. But then when you're in a situationship, you can't utilize the understanding.
Yeah, it feels too real. The actual emotions that are being elicited in that interaction.
And everything that you do is not helping you reach clarity.
Yeah.
It's sinking you further into the
Delulu.
into Delulu that you want that you want to be the reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a thing that I have no sympathy for.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't care about the people that do that.
Damn.
I don't. It's annoying. It's really annoying because then, and like kind of speaking from experience, but like it's not as intense as I'm about to say it.
Okay.
But now you're coming to me and you're making me pick up the pieces of a situation that broke your freaking entire existence because you wanted it to be realer than it was, and it never was that. And you knew, and you know, and you can tell me that it was never that because of what it is. But then you try and make it mean something that it never did.
Yeah.
And you make that another person's problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
it's
fucked up.
It's imbuing the meaning in the wrong place, like the meaning of that interaction. Because I was initially, when you were saying that, going to say like, I think people imbue meaning in places that don't always need to be that deep. But like there can always be lessons learned and meaning like put into situations. But like where you're placing that meaning and profoundness, as you were saying, is misplaced, I guess. Like right in the, I guess you're placing it in like the drama of it, of like, oh, this person was like, oh, they're the one that got away.
Much,
yeah, my feelings.
And I couldn't make this work.
Right. Versus like, yeah, I like, because you can definitely place meaning in like, I, felt really strong feelings for this person, and that was like really unfortunate. Maybe the meaning is that you realize that you do want a relationship. Maybe the meaning is that, like I was talking about before for myself, I was like, I'm placing energy into people that I shouldn't be placing energy into. There's like all these other places that you can place the meaning in. I think it's where you place it into the drama of like oh my God, my heart is so broken. Like, it's not saying that there's no meaning in your heart being broken, but like it's kind of going back to that like victim mentality. Like there's like a fine line between like honoring your feelings and just kind of what's the word? Like
victimizing yourself.
Yeah, victimizing your feelings. There you go.
It is a fine line, but it's a very obvious line to me specifically.
Gotcha.
I don't know how obvious that is to other people, but I want it to be more clear. I want it to be more clear. And it's so sad that so many people find themselves in these situations for whatever they find themselves in these situations for. But they meet a person that actually wants to be with them. And they are still hung up over this other person that never really wanted them, pretended to want them, never really wanted them. And they're robbing themselves of the experience of this person that actually wants them, that they could actually be with.
Yeah.
But then, in line with what we're talking about, wouldn't that person, for the person that wants you, be the situationship that they shouldn't be a part of in an interesting way?
Wait, whoa. Say that again?
So like a person that is still strung up over a past like situation, not being able to give the proper energy to a person that actually wants them,
Is just another situation.
It's just another situation.
It's flipped.
Yeah.
It's the human centipede.
Whoa. But yes. but whoa.
I'm sorry.
But
I
whoa.
apologize for that one,
that
guys.
That would never not be like a very jarring image in my mind. Never want to think about that. And I normally don't think about that. And it's always some motherfucker that has to put that shit in my mind, bro.
Like me.
I haven't thought about the human centipede in years. Now I'm going to be thinking about that for the next like month.
Happy Halloween. Oh my gosh.
Boo, that's rough.
Sorry about that, guys.
That's so rough.
Should we move into the last part of the unless you have any finishing thoughts to say?
I don't think I do. I think like what hasn't been said is pretty irrelevant, you know?
Yeah. I'm also down for that as well.
Yeah. So what's the last part? So all that being said, right?
Yeah,
So
we really went in.
All that,
Really
all
going
that being
in.
said, we know what it is. We know how we get there. We know why we shouldn't be there.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we can grace them with solutions that have already been said before, right? But like just to talk about them because why not?
No, 100%. 100%.
You have a lot of things to say about this, I know.
Do I? All of a sudden, I don't have anything to say. Well, no, I think like the biggest thing is when you find yourself like, when you become aware that you're like, I think this might be a situationship. I think there are a couple steps that need to be taken from that point, especially if you want to like confirm or like engage with this person in a relationship and really like clarify what's going on. And I think the first thing is having a conversation, but not, and I think we've talked about this before in our dating series that we did, where it all connects.
Meaning all our bases,
all
man.
the universe, it all connects. Anyway, sorry. I don't know why I said that. But we did talk about this in our dating series, that in this conversation, it's not a why don't you want to be with me? It's not a do you want to be with me? Like you're asking them a question in that regard. It has to more so come from a place of, hey, I'm developing these feelings. This is what I see. I think we're really compatible in these ways. And I would like to continue it in XYZ. I would like to be exclusive. What are your thoughts? How are you feeling about that? And having them kind of clarify versus being like, do you want to be with me? Yes or no?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's a very heavy question.
Right. A heavy question.
I don't know.
And, you know, and that it gives it, when you say it in that way versus the like, do you want me? It's coming from a place of, or at least even if you don't feel this way, it comes across as coming from a place of confidence, of certainty within yourself, and like really standing, like being like very like direct and firm in the way that you're interacting with it versus very like, the other question sounds insecure, to put like simply.
True.
And then from there, if you find that, because I guess like, at least for me, I would say if they do not want to be in a relationship with you, or even similar to my situation, you're picking up a very wishy-washy, like, or very unenthusiastic, maybe, oh, I mean, yeah, I guess we could try it. In my opinion, I think you should dip out. But if you don't want to dip out quite yet, I think there are things like you have to do to pull back. Like, I think like the worst thing that you can do when you're in a situationship is still give them full blown girlfriend treatment. Like, that's my boo, that's my baby, like type
For the
beat.
people in the back, what would you categorize as girlfriend treatment?
Well, I think one, playing house with them. Like if you're staying over multiple nights in a row, like cooking dinner, like doing all these things.
Washing their clothes.
Oh my God. Doing their laundry. Girl, pick yourself up off your feet.
Like, that's wife duties at that point.
No, exactly.
Like,
right. What? Their laundry? Please. Yeah, no. Posting them on social media when they aren't posting you, especially.
That's embarrassing.
Oh my God. Don't do that. No. Don't post about them at all. But making yourself too available in general to them, I think, is kind of a bad like idea.
The moment they hit you up, you're skipping and jumping all the way over there.
Exactly. Which kind of then goes into the playing house with them. You're like, yeah, I'm total. And then you stay at their
Why
place
are you so
for
free?
days on end.
Why are you so free, man?
Don't be so available. Make yourself a little less available. So I think those are kind of like main things of like girlfriend type treatment, especially since if you're already having sex with them, like too, it's like it's hard when you're giving a guy who's like really resistant to commitment sex without any responsibility, like of like a relationship or just a responsibility to you in any way. That's also just kind of hard to like exist in, especially when you want them.
Yeah,
you know.
I agree. Which is where I
don't
would
have
start.
sex with them.
Yeah, that's where I would start. That's like always my advice to people, because while this society is so sex positive,
Yeah.
and like so open and ready to fuck each other, good for y'all. Use protection.
Right. Wrap it up.
I don't think we give sex the proper significance that it needs.
Yeah.
And like I said, this all starts because you're opening yourself up to people that are basically strangers to you. So maybe don't do that as readily as society has termed or has conditioned you to do so. Because a lot of that, almost every situationship that I am currently aware of has started because people are like hooking up.
It was a physical thing, and then it's a really vulnerable, like intimate thing to do. You're literally like you're completely naked with this person. They are, at least for a girl, they're literally inside of you. Like that is super intimate, and you don't really know much about this person. That opens you up emotionally in a really confusing way that then leads to these situationships, and you form this attachment to a person that you probably hardly even really know. And that's just it's tough. It makes it difficult.
As you possibly can be physically before you even understood what's going on in their minds.
Yeah.
Of course you're emotionally attached to them. Of course you want something more. Because that, whether you want to believe it or not, and there are some people that like can have very detached sex.
Yeah.
And to those people, good for you, first of all. Second of all, that's not the goal. Right?
Yeah, I was gonna say like, good for you, but
that's not the goal. Most sex feels better when it's connective, first of all. Second of all, as much as society is telling you that you can separate those emotions, most people can't and don't. So why would you want to participate, even try and test yourself in that?
Right.
Like I'm gonna like flip the dice and maybe I will, maybe I won't. Like that's not healthy. That's not helpful.
Exactly. And that's like honestly okay and good that you can't like separate your emotions from sex.
You are normal for that.
Right.
It's a very emotional thing.
Exactly.
So don't feel bad because you can't be a whore.
For sure. That is like what?
Because it's funny. No. Because it's funny. Why? Don't be mad that you can't be a whore, you know?
Oh gosh.
Don't be mad that you can't hoe around. How about that? I feel better.
There you go. Yeah. It feels a little less aggressive.
Don't be mad that you can't hoe around, because that's like not how humans are necessarily built. That's not how most people are built.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is like honestly evidenced by the fact that there's so many situationships as a result of that. Because like if you were as good at separating feelings and sex as you think you are, you wouldn't feel the way you feel in a situationship.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree.
And then there's also a point that I was thinking about in this, like how to move forward post situationship, understanding what the situationship is. At the crux of the issue, the core element that's operating there is really unmet needs. A lot of things that I talk about, a lot of phenomenons that are like toxic for people is have to do with something you're missing. Right?
Yeah.
You're going back to this person so often because they're giving you something, or they gave you something that you don't think that you can find anywhere else. Or you haven't found anywhere else, right? So you think back and you reminisce. I was actually just doing this week about reminiscing about these things that I used to get from other people, and I'm healed and healthy, so I don't go out of my way and text them.
Right.
But like I get the feeling, I understand the sentiment. So it's about understanding what those feelings are, what they were actually giving you, what you were taking from them, what you needed from them, and separating the person from the feeling that you were getting, from the need that you were fulfilling. the most healthy way is to try to give it to yourself. The second most healthy way is to try to get it from the environment, not necessarily a person.
I see. Yeah, it's a really great way to put it, because don't attach yourself to necessarily the person itself, but kind of,
because every time, if you don't do that, every time you're feeling a little empty, that need is like bugging you, you're always going to think about them, and they're never going to want you any more than...
But they're not the only person who can give you that.
And they're never going to want you any more than they did when you separated from them.
Yeah, right.
So figure that, like, the faster you can figure out what you were getting from them, the faster you can heal from the situationship.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like that.
Yes.
Stop. Not the NPC. Oh my gosh.
No one hates it more than me, I swear.
Right. Trust me, I hate myself more than you do.
Oh, damn.
I was just saying it just to say it.
That's such a rough thing to say.
It happened in my brain, and I had to verbalize it.
But yeah, I think that
about covers it. Yeah. Our stances and opinions on situationships. Relational purgatory. I like that.
I liked it too. That was cool.
It's very defining of what that feels like in those situations.
And it can be solved very easily and very quickly.
Yeah.
Please, I beseech all of you, therefore, brethren, to be with an individual that wants you as much as you want them.
Doth thou want a relationship? I don't know. The old English, whatever Shakespeare
I know what you're trying to do. I know what you're trying to do. Believe me.
Yeah.
I 100% understand what's trying to...
Because you said brethren.
I did.
Yeah, so that triggered my brain. Anyways, all right, let's end this episode before it gets weird.
Too late.
Oh my gosh. What happened? Getting around to finish it. Anyways, yeah, okay, let's close out the episode. Any announcements you have to make? Any closing thoughts or anything like that? Per usual, just follow us on all of our social media at TheIntellectuals. We are posting on YouTube if you want to see our faces and our reactions. They will get better with time, of course. Naturally. Because especially the earlier ones, as we said, that Jem is editing, we were not nearly as aware of the cameras.
Man. Looking back at those older videos is painful.
Oh gosh,
it's painful. Like, you thought you were doing so good,
right? But that just means we grew, and that's great. At least we're not the same. You know what I mean? That would be even worse, and we were unaware of it.
That sucks.
Oh, that'd be so bad.
I would be embarrassed.
Yeah, would be pretty horrible.
We the intellectuals. Where?
Oh my gosh. We did get our first, I guess, our version of viral. It's not actually viral, but
I mean,
TikTok.
Viral enough. It's all about relation, right?
Exactly.
We finally got past the 200
on our TikTok. We got 17,000 views on our TikTok, and it was really good. It was from our breakup episode. Right. I think you guys really enjoyed that one.
And it's so funny, like, what goes viral.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many points that I'm like, oh yeah, that would work. Oh yeah, that's the one right there. And then
it's never what you think.
It's never what you think.
It's never what you think.
You just don't know what people want. What do the people want?
But I mean, given that, I think that's why I like doing our dating apps episode, doing this episode about situationships. I hope it's kind of tapping into more of what people want to see in terms of, like, the breakups episode being such a popular episode with people. But yeah, very good stuff.
What we're seeing is that y'all are lonely and broken and miserable.
Damn, we all are. In our own way.
Oh, we?
In our own way. It's okay, Jem. You don't have to speak about it now. I'm just literally saying shit.
Anyway, but yeah, so that's that. Let us know what y'all think about the episode, and we'll see you next time, because at the end of the day, I'm Jem.
And I'm Renee.
And we're the Intellectuals. Signing off until next time.
Bye.